UN says Daesh has killed dozens of civilians in Mosul this week and is reportedly stockpiling ammonia and sulphur in civilian areas, possibly for use as chemical weapons. It's happening as Kurdish Peshmerga forces raid areas near the city. Video, like you're seeing here, was taken by the Peshmerga, is showing one of those raids against a Daesh hideout. One militant surrendered while another set off a bomb, injuring several Peshmerga fighters. The operation to rout out Daesh has been made much harder as the terror group uses civilians as human shields. Well, TRT World's Zeina Awad is covering the story from Erbil in northern Iraq, and she joins us now. Zeina, it's believed that there are around 1 million people in Mosul, a lot of concern for their safety. What more do we know about the fate of civilians inside of the city?
Ali John, the picture that's emerging from the UN is quite a horrific one. The UN says that there have been at least 40 people who have been executed by Daesh. Now, these are civilians who Daesh says have been traitors, have passed on information to the Iraqi army and to the Peshmerga, and they've executed them and hung their bodies by poles, by electric poles, presumably to make an example of them publicly. There's also been a lot of concern about civilians who've been abducted, who've disappeared. We now understand that men and boys have been forced to wear suicide belts and have been deployed into alleyways, into streets in the city of Mosul. And women have been given to Daesh fighters on the front lines, probably to be used as human shields once the battle enters the city of Mosul. So it's quite a disturbing image, really, that's coming up. And it's important to know that these are findings that are only from this past week.
And that's not all, because of these, besides these executions and abductions and innocent civilians being used as human shields, there are also concerns about the terror group potentially using chemical weapons too, right?
There are, and this is something that's been of great concern to charity organizations and to military strategists. Does Daesh have access to chemical weapons, and will it use them? Well, at the moment, from what we understand from the same UN report, the group has been compiling sulphur and ammonia, which are two ingredients that go in chemical weapons inside the city in built-up areas full of civilians, which is quite disturbing. We also know that some civilians have died because they choked to death. They were asphyxiated, as a result of Daesh burning sulfur gas. So it's looking quite concerning for the civilians who are trapped inside of Mosul. But it's important to note that Daesh's reign of terror has began 2 years ago as it swept through areas, towns, villages, and cities under its control. And as a result of that, hundreds of thousands of people have been forced to flee those areas. Now, one particular community that has been targeted is the Christian community. It's an ancient community in this country, and it has been forced to flee en masse. Now, we visited Iraq's oldest monastery to hear the community's story.